Welcome to this week's edition of Spenny Spotlight. We're going to be taking a look at how Lamar Jackson absolutely throttled the Cleveland Browns. 4-touchdown performance, 4 for 4 in the red zone, does it on the ground twice, gets the ball to Mark Andrews in the end zone twice. A commanding, dominant performance by Jackson. We heard John Harbaugh describe him as the general in this performance. Point guard, point god, all over the field, doing it with his legs, doing it with his arm, in every way, looking like a true superstar. So let's check it out in just a second. Make sure to like and subscribe. Smash that like and subscribe button to support the channel, support the boys as we continue growing everything we're working on. Really appreciate it. Leave your comments, what you thought about Jackson's performance, what you liked the most, what you thought he could work on, anything of the sort. Let's get after it, my friends. Ravens run a staple concept here. It's a jet CT bash. So we're going to see Zay Flowers come in motion. Morgan Moses going to pull. Tyler Linderbaum going to pull and kick out. Morgan Moses going to continue up that path. We're going to see Patrick McCary climb to the second level and get the linebacker there. And these linebackers are so perplexed by the motion that they really just take themselves out. And the Ravens walk into the end zone. We see Taki 44 start to shift right there and just goes and takes out the ability to make a play for himself. He's probably has to go meet in the hole. It still would have worked probably because the Ravens have Mark Andrews and Morgan Moses there to go account for those two. Really Morgan Moses. So maybe one-on-one Anthony Walker can scrape if he can get around McCary. Probably still a touchdown there, but the Browns just so perplexed by the motion. A walk-in touchdown. The Ravens have shown Zay Flowers so much getting the ball down in the red zone, so the Browns bid on that action right there for a pretty easy touchdown. Lamar Jackson whips the ball into the back line, pretty fired up as the Ravens take a 7-3 lead. Here we see the Ravens hit Mark Andrews on what looks like a little bit of a double option up here. So we see Pat Ricard in, Mark Andrews in, and we're going to watch Mark Andrews really just go have an option, kind of sits down in space. Zay Flowers going to go do the same thing. Makes me think it's options probably, spacing, whatever people want to say against this zone concept. We're going to see the stick and nod kind of deal from Nelson Aguilar at the bottom of the screen. And the Browns are going to be in a basic cover 3 press look. So we're going to see the DBs take thirds, cover 3 thirds with this safety in the post right here. And Lamar Jackson really is just going to pump this and then go hit that soft spot to Mark Andrews super quickly. So not really a ton, gets the ball out, but we just see him use his eyes, shoulder roll, knowing that it's going to hold this safety, hold this post safety right here. Going to keep him in the middle of the field and if anything, rotate him that way. And as Lamar Jackson shoulder rolls, that safety can't close space. We also see these 4 underneath defenders in a stack. Going to go make sure they widen out so we get the flat. And the other linebacker is occupied by Gus Edwards as he comes out of the backfield right here. Creates this nice window for Lamar Jackson to go fire that football. Here we'll just see Jackson's shoulder roll and see how the safety, really wanted to. He even starts to open that way a little, and it just holds the safety. Lamar Jackson's eyes, shoulder roll, hold that safety so he can come back, fire a nice, easy ball to Mark Andrews to go get a first down. Here on 1st and 10, we see the Ravens in a power gun setup with Mark Andrews and Pat Ricard again in tight. We see the bunch to the top of the screen. We can see the Browns here, 1, 2, 3 defenders are going to basically zone this to the field, and then they're going to man lock on the backside. So we're going to see a man lock on Mark Andrews, and a linebacker is going to count for Gus Edwards. The Ravens are going to slide their whole line and move Lamar Jackson. To me, it looks like they're probably trying to take this shot on Zay Flowers, who does get Grant Delpit turned, is going to run that deep over kind of route. And instead, we see a great play by, I believe, this Browns linebacker to go attack. Perhaps it's Taki. One of the two is going to come attack Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson just does an outstanding job creating with pressure in his face. So this, to me, kind of reminds me of a leak a little bit. Sometimes we'll see the Kyle Shanahan leak. You'll see a tight end leak and then wheel. It's a little bit against that, but has some similar characteristics. So we're going to see Mark Andrews looks like he's going to roll play side like he's leaking, but instead as he gets upfield, he's just going to pivot and return to the sideline, get a ton of separation, breaks a tackle. I do want to note Gus Edwards' effort here, but so again, it looks like it's just man lock, and then This defender is going to take the underneath threat, this defender is going to take the outside threat, and this defender is going to sit inside and vision and help. So the pressure comes, and then Lamar Jackson just absolutely baits this situation to Mark Andrews. We see the Andrews route at the bottom of the screen, pivots, gets separation, gets into the open field. Jackson with pressure in his face. Watch Gus Edwards come up the sideline here. Watch where Gus Edwards is when this ball is thrown, and watch him hustle down to the 40, some 25, 30 yards to go make blocks for Mark Andrews. Awesome effort there. Mark Andrews rumbles down the field for a huge explosive gain. The Ravens are up 7-3 at this point. This is really going to help flip the field deep in their own territory in an AFC North game where field position's at a premium. So we see number 5, Walker, doesn't buy the fake, gets right in Lamar Jackson's face, stays wide, does a good job, and then Lamar Jackson kind of feels like he knows exactly what's going to happen with Mark Andrews. You see him start to look there. Vision's back outside, knowing that might freeze the defender's eyes, and then just flips it across his body to Andrews, who pivots again. Leaves, I think, Newsome in the dust. Gus Edwards going and making blocks downfield. Great effort from the Browns defender to try and go hawk that ball out. I think it was Newsome after he already kind of got beat in the open field there. But massive play. Lamar Jackson creative with pressure in his face. No panic. Knows he's going to have that return against that kind of shallow or leak. The motion gives that identifier a little bit for him. And as that defender comes free, he just steps up, deviates his path, which really might help sell. You see that as that defender is looking towards Jackson. Kind of gets a little flat-footed. Jackson just flips the ball under. Look at Mark Andrews' awareness of the defender pursuing behind him and to go against the momentum. Momentum awareness, spatial awareness there of Mark Andrews. Turns upfield. Gus Edwards just hauls. Really walls off 2 defenders because of his effort there. And if it wasn't for number 0, Mark Andrews is banging his head off the goalpost possibly. Number 1's coming to go rumble with him, but Juan Thornhill. But just a dynamic, explosive gain there to flip the field for the Ravens and get them to midfield with a 7-3 lead. Here we see the Ravens run what some call lead read. There's a bunch of names for it, but essentially it's going to be inside zone looking, like every offensive lineman is just going to down block for an inside zone where Gus Edwards would take off. Read option-esque, so there's going to be an unblocked force defender here to read Lamar Jackson, but instead Gus Edwards is going to follow Lamar Jackson. So we get all these down blocks, and the defense has to respect those. Zay Flowers goes up top to wall off, and the really only 2 defenders that can make a play are going to get blocked by Gus Edwards. And then there's this safety who has to scrape through all this traffic and go meet Lamar Jackson. So it looks like it's just going to be a zone read. But then Gus Edwards is going to deviate his path and go lead block for Lamar Jackson. There's no unblocked defender. Read man, only that safety could have made a play, number 1, and he has to fight through traffic. So an awesome aspect of Todd Monken's run game. We've seen the Ravens run this before against the Browns, but Todd Monken spaces it, calls it well. You see Lamar Jackson communicating, maybe giving the illusion that he might be throwing the football, trying to fake bluff a communication with that isolated receiver. But we'll see the defense just get sucked up. 26 here, the only player that could maybe really make a play, and Juan Thornhill has to try to scrape over top there. So we'll also see Lamar Jackson. We'll get it better on the reversing, but we'll see him as Gus Edwards is getting out. Lamar Jackson pulls on his jersey saying, hey, don't get out too far ahead. Don't let him go make a play. Let me just walk up right behind you. The closer you get to his toes, the less time he'll have to react where I go. And Juan Thornhill just can't get there in time. Lamar Jackson in space one-on-one. You have to stop him while he has momentum with a foot. You're not going to. So 2 really easy quarterback run touchdowns for the Ravens so far. We can finally watch this last angle. And you can really see Lamar Jackson just tugging on that jersey of Gus Edwards right there. See the extension of it, saying, hey, don't get out too far ahead. I'm coming inside. I want to use you. So Lamar Jackson in control. And, hey, they said don't pay running backs. And while Lamar Jackson's not a running back, he also kind of is the best one in the NFL at the same time. That's just high IQ. Gives a little shimmy so the defender doesn't know, can I go outside, can I go inside? Allows Gus Edwards to get into his frame. Instead of Edwards getting there early and the defender being able to maybe make a play inside, Lamar Jackson forces that defender to stay neutral with a big back coming at him and then can just cruise. Touchdown. 14-3. Cruising. 3rd and 5 here, 2-minute drill. Ravens around midfield on their own 42. And we see this bunch formation. So it's a 3-by-1. 1, 2, 3 up here. Zay Flowers isolated in a tight split, so they've run this a ton, that kind of fade. And we're going to see Lamar Jackson start communicating with Melvin Gordon. I'm going to send you in motion. I'm going to ID coverage. So he sends him out. You see the linebacker come with him. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah walks out. Oh, okay. Bring him back. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is going to follow him. I know I have man coverage. So the Ravens, then at that point, have all this space. They know, locked up, safety's in the post. These 3 are going to try and sort over here. Lamar Jackson's not even concerned about that. So we're going to see Nelson Agholor just go try and split the difference right here of this linebacker and just sit down, which allows Melvin Gordon to go run this rail route with a pick. So the linebacker tries to get in the hip. We saw Patrick Queen last week got vertical on a second attempt. He did get burned for a touchdown, a second attempt. So Owusu-Koramoah can either try and undercut or he can try and go over top. And probably would have been better to go over top. He didn't know that pick was coming, I guess. That is an element of Todd Monken's offense we haven't seen in Baltimore. So we'll see. Nice protection, nice pocket. Look how throw-ready Jackson is at the top of his drop. Wide base, stays wide, and then just flicks it to Melvin Gordon right over top. What a throw. We see that pick at the bottom of the screen from Nelson Agholor. He doesn't even block him. And Owusu-Koramoah just tries to take such a tight angle. It was almost a little bit of an Ole situation where it's like, oh, I'm expecting contact on this pick. So he dips, takes too steep of an angle, stumbles, and Lamar Jackson just drops it in the bed. After that big shot to Zay Flowers in the scramble drill, we're going to see a little smash concept here. Zay Flowers inside, Nelson Agholor going to run the smash route. And that's where this ball is going. Always going there. They know they've got that 2x2 here. This bunch, create a little traffic, hopefully, with these 2. And Lamar Jackson puts on a nice ball. Really, really nice ball. Nelson Agholor just can't quite toe tap. Funk. Gets 1. Can't stab that second foot. Absolute gorgeous dime by Lamar Jackson ball placement-wise. If you want to get nitpicky, this little hitch he takes here, maybe you can get rid of it a hair early, give him more space to work with, track the ball. See, just a little hitch, but ball ends up being so good. Such a nice location, placement, clean pocket again. See that base from Lamar Jackson, just spreading it out, pats the ball once, and maybe, just maybe, that's why he can put the ball where he put it. Nelson Agholor does a great job shielding the defender and just can't stab that back foot. Defender carries his momentum out of bounds. Almost a touchdown as the clock's ticking here late. Myles Garrett doing everything he can, but back goes and chips on Garrett, gets him down. So close to being a touchdown. So then that brings us to 3rd down and goal, or right around goal, 3rd and 6. And we're going to see another 3-man kind of concept here. So the Ravens go tight now instead of wide. And we see the Browns showing this middle of the field closed instead of a red 2, which I don't love. We see this wall of defenders essentially with this safety. So the Ravens are going to high-low over here. Zay Flowers is going to run the low. Mark Andrews is going to run the high corner. And so that's going to be, we heard Lamar Jackson talk about, that's going to be this read defender. If he comes down, you throw it over his head. If he gets too much depth, you fire into Zay Flowers. And I really maybe like to see Zay Flowers break this off just a little bit sooner, just a little bit tighter. And I'll just play it through. We also see Gus Edwards go run a Texas route here, which is nice, but there's just too many defenders in the middle of the field anyway, but it does occupy some space. So we see Flowers drifts kind of into the goal line. I would have liked to see him break that off here because this defender has so much depth now. And that's why I think we see Lamar Jackson wait on it until that defender bites down some. We see that forward movement, the defender's feet shuffle. That's how good Lamar Jackson's vision is. And off his back foot, just silly. Just an NBA Street game-breaking throw over that defender and just shoots it to Mark Andrews, who makes one of the catches great catches I can really ever remember in Ravens history. Like, put that on the top 25 list. So we see Jackson's like, all right, high-low, what's the DB going to do? And he wants to throw it there. Can't tell. Doesn't want to turn the ball over. Pressure coming in. And then just jump throws it to that spot. Thunk. And Mark Andrews just too big, too tall, too high. Highest in the room. Touchdown. fired up about it. Unbelievable throw. Alien stuff from Lamar Jackson. This is one of one stuff. One of one. The amount of jump throws that he makes, leaving his feet and putting the ball there like that, just nuts, man. We're looking at killer red zone Lamar Jackson. 4 touchdowns in the red zone. 4 for 4 in the red zone. Doing stuff like that. Just toying. Just playing with his food, man. Mark Andrews is like, oh my God. I'm back, baby. Everybody's fired up about that one. They're crashing face masks, doing it all. 21-3 Ravens going into the second half. Pretty much bleed the clock dry. Down to the fourth quarter, 6:29 left, 3rd and 5. Work the ball down after a turnover. And we're going to see really just a belly up Browns defense, miscommunication. 3-by-1 bunch to the bottom here. So we see 1, 2, 3. And the Ravens are just going to run mesh rail. But it doesn't even really rail. It's really just a 2-man mesh that Lamar Jackson seems to be looking at. And Mark Andrews, Devin Duvernay going to mesh across. That's Laquan Treadwell. We're going to see Duvernay go spot over. Zay Flowers going to come out. Gus Edwards just kind of goes in and makes sure the flat defender moves that way a little bit. And to me, it looks like the Browns are trying to get lost in like whether this is locked or not, or they're going to pass off. So we're going to see, as I think Treadwell goes across, we're going to see this defender roll with him and lock and man as Mark Andrews comes under. And the Browns don't really run and chase. They're just passing off. These linebackers are just sitting in these hooks right here. And they just pass off. One of them goes and follows, I think, Gus Edwards. So I think it ends up being something more like this, as my drones are getting all messy here. But I think it's going to be like this defender starts to move with Gus Edwards. This defender just sits, and this guy follows. So then there's this void right here for Mark Andrews. Lamar Jackson just climbs the pocket and just sticks a dagger in them. Just stick the fork in them. We'll see right there. We see the defender start to follow at the top of the screen, Laquan Treadwell, and now there's just a void around the marker. Is this man? Is this match? Should he have picked up Mark Andrews and followed him? I mean, really, both of it is open a little bit, but Mark Andrews there's nothing there. I mean, first down either way. Lamar Jackson climbs the pocket. Pat McCary rides with Myles Garrett. He tries to dip under, just walks up. Probably could have taken it himself, to be honest. Instead, he feeds the big boy. Feeds Mark Andrews for his second touchdown of the day. 4 touchdowns for Lamar Jackson. Just eviscerates the Browns in the red zone. Clean, calm, under pressure. Watch Lamar Jackson just in this one. When you give him time and space, especially if he can ID what you're doing, just point guard, just flips it. Just hanging out. Just watching, leverage. Floop. Mark Andrews, skirt. Browns just can't tackle the Ravens. They never can. Browns simply can't tackle the Ravens when Lamar Jackson's on the football field. Zay Flowers had some missed tackles for us. Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, Lamar Jackson. Mark Andrews has gain after gain. Mark Andrews just dominated. This was his 9th touchdown against the Cleveland Browns in his career. Most of any active player in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. Just bloop. That's a Chris Berman. Whoop. Easy money, 28-3, ball game. Lamar Jackson, 4 touchdown performance. Outstanding day against the Cleveland Browns. The Baltimore Ravens moved to 3-1 behind their superstar quarterback. Fun stuff to watch.